8:30.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Issues of the day under T-Radar.
He's on the move. He's in the deep south, T-Radar today. Good morning, T-Radar.
Good morning. I'm in my bed with my blankets pulled well over my head.
Sounds like it as well. Just rolled over, picked up the phone.
Yeah,
G'day.
just roll. I've got a bit of a sore throat. Been on tour, you see, doing a couple of hours of show a night, and it's taking its toll on the old voice box, the old chat hole.
And where exactly is Riverton?
Riverton is it's west of Invercargill, and it was considered at one stage the Riviera of the south. You'd think down here it's all cold and miserable, but for a long period of time it was sort of the fruit basket of the South Island. Lots of fruit trees and all that kind of thing, but sadly most of them gone now.
Yeah, there are still plenty of fruit trees sort of central Otago, but not that far south now.
Not as many, I don't think, as there used to be, I don't think. So, problem being, of course, it's hard to get anyone to pick fruit these days.
Yeah. You can get plenty of illegal workers, no problem there.
That's right, plenty of the older illegals. Or as I was listening to a bit of talkback yesterday on the way down here, and Michael Laws in particular was saying, there's no unemployed people, there's only a whole lot of people who don't want to work. They should all be out picking fruit.
The usual.
And callers were ringing in, usual kind of, just crows.
Hey, but talking about fruit, the 90-year war that's been waging across the Tasman Sea, the guns have been flaring, there's probably been killings and whatnot going on for 90 years, but it's over.
It's over, the 90-year Apple War. And years to come, we'll look back at the 90-year Apple War, and people will go, oh, what happened there? We're at war with Australia over the apple, but finally we could export our apples to Australia. It was all to do with some kind of, was it an apple blight, I believe, and Australians said we had a blight and we couldn't send our apples over there because their apples would get it, and so it's raged on. It's really a little bit, in some ways, a bit of market protection as well. So finally the court has ruled that we can now send our apples to Australia. It's kind of got a sense of sort of almost Adam and Eve-esque apple drama.
But it's like a 90-year courtship or something. I mean, at the end of it, wouldn't you go, oh, you want me now? Well, but you obviously don't want me that much.
No, but I guess, apples need to be sold somewhere, and so yet another market for the juiciest and the crispest of our apples to disappear overseas.
Yeah.
So that we get all of that sort of not quite export grade fruit in our supermarkets.
Yeah.
Do like a good Braeburn, though. Always disappointed, often with the apples. Sometimes, never as crisp as they appear. They've been cool stored for a while, and you bite into them and you think, oh, sudsy, soft.
No, I love the Granny Smith, but apparently the Granny Smith came from Australia.
Right, I see.
Yeah. In fact, they do a wee festival over there somewhere in some remote region of Australia to celebrate the Granny Smith once a year.
Well, I'm not surprised. It's a wonderful apple. I love it. That when you get those ones that are really tart and crisp, and they sort of almost suck the back of your head into the front of your face.
Yeah.
Ooh, lovely. My grandfather said, you don't want to eat too many of those, you'll get the collywobbles.
What's the collywobbles?
Well, it's kind of, when you get the squirts. Again, another wonderful sort of old-fashioned word. But no, I always love that phrase, you'll get the collywobbles.
Or the trots.
The trots, that's right. And, it's all of those old words, they sort of remind me of what's happening. I'm out touring in all of these small towns, Riverton and Waikaira and Tokanui and all of these places, bottom of the South and bottom of the North Island. And after every show or during interval, it's that great tradition of sort of ladies a plate. And so there's these enormous suppers being provided. It doesn't happen, when you're in the city. And it's absolutely wonderful.
Oh, lovely. What kind of things?
Oh, look, I was in one place last week. They had 3, those big trestle tables you get at old school halls.
Yeah.
3 of those, absolutely groaning with lemingtons, 2 kinds of custard square, little pies, sandwiches, mini quiches, scones, loaves, everything, every kind of baking, different cakes, everything you can think of, and they're all there. In one place they had so much supper, they had an unprecedented second sitting of supper.
Nice.
And there's just something so sort of delightful about it, and particularly in this age where everyone's watching MasterChef and, and all of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
People are still out there producing these absolutely delicious dishes, and people roll up, you're setting up the venue, and people are rolling up all afternoon, dropping off cakes and slices and all kinds of things, and you just watch this amount of food grow, and it's a wonderful part of New Zealand that I think is lost in many areas.
It is kind of like, and it is tragic that it has been lost from perhaps from the main centres, but it is kind of like the provinces have stood still, haven't they?
They have. They've retained the best of the past and held on to it as this kind of a badge of pride. particularly down here, they love their food. I love coming down to the bottom of the South Island. They're inordinately proud of, their blue cod, and, I had a good couple of meals of mutton bird last week. Absolutely
Mutton bird?
Delicious.
Tell us about the mutton bird.
Mutton bird, it's like a sort of it's very gamey, bit of an acquired taste, and quite fishy, and very fatty. And the mutton bird, it's a like the young of, what is it? It's like a seabird. And they come into the islands down at the bottom of the South Island.
Don't tell me the young of the albatross.
No, no, wouldn't that be great? No. I can't think of what bird it is. So one of your listeners will know. They'll probably email in or text in and tell you what it is. But and they come in to breed on all these islands around sort of south of Stewart Island and around there. And a lot of Ngāi families have rights, exclusive rights, going back sort of many, many years to go out and get them. And so they have these they go out and spend a month or a couple of months out there harvesting these mutton bird. And they sort of get them as you have to reach down into the burrows and grab them and sort of pull them. It's very hands-on, quite brutal. And then they pack them in various ways and sort of in fat and various other things, and they send them off. And not often available in the supermarkets, or if they are, sort of about $14 a bird for kind of small specimens. But just they're a real, that and the whitebait, all the whitebait stands I saw on the estuary up into Riverton, and everyone's gearing up and fixing up their stands. It's just a wonderful part of the country.
Would you recommend a mutton bird? Would you recommend people try it if they were in that part of the country?
Oh, look, if you do get a chance, it's quite a lot of different ways to cook it, and often you have to sort of boil it and then roast it and then grill it. It's not as simple as putting a chicken in the oven, but I strongly recommend it. There's a wonderful bar in Dunedin, actually, called Inch Bar, where they've got this sort of the pride of the South, by which I don't mean Spates, but they've got all the lovely Emerson beers on tap, and I had a mutton bird in there the other day. And I think it was $12.50, and being from Auckland, I thought, it'll be just a tiny piece of, a sliver of mutton bird flesh on toast.
Yeah.
But it was half a mutton bird with a couple of pieces of nice sort of ciabatta and a lovely sort of fresh tomato side. Absolutely fantastic.
Well, I think I fancy that.
You should. I'd give it a go. You can wash it down with the lovely Emersons.
Yeah.
But I see there's the beer Varna is coming up soon. There's been a record number of entries because in terms of that kind of concept of our love of food and whatnot, craft beer is taking over the beer market. There's up to sort of, if you exclude, I believe, Max and Monteith, which are owned by the big breweries, 2.5% of the beer market is now taken over by the craft breweries, which is it's a staggering amount of beer.
It is. It's exploding at the moment. You only have to go to a really good beer retailer, and you'd see just this massive array of craft breweries from all over the country, and you're like, wow, how do all these how are they all competing? But they are, and they are available.
That's right. Yes, I'm off down to I've caught it at the Invercargill Brewery on the way back up today. They'll have some wonderful beers, and the last bastion, the thing that's really going to crack it for that beer market, and if there are any restaurateurs listening, it's having a wonderful beer list in a restaurant,
Yeah.
You go and you get all this beautiful food, you get a wine list, but you don't get a beer list. Well, you do. It's generally Spates and Tui and Lion Red and Heineken, and you think, oh, come on, surely to God, you've got to be able to get a little bit more than that into your stock. Of course, a lot of them tied up with their contracts to the big brewers. The brewers put in the sort of money into their restaurants and bars to help them fit out, and they get a monopoly, which I think is a great shame. It's very detrimental to the nature of New Zealand's food and beer.
But as you say, I mean, it really is picking up and improving. So some good signs, some green shoots, if you will.
Green shoots, hoppy goodness.
Thanks very much, T Radar. Enjoy your.
We'll speak again next week.
Yeah, where will you be? Do you know?
Next week I will be about to leave Wellington and head up back to Auckland.
Good-o. All right, we'll catch you then.
Right. We'll speak again.
So that is T Radar in Riverton today.